So let's start with something most men rarely talk about, but almost every man over 50 eventually feels. You wake up one morning, and the first thing you notice is nothing. No energy, no spark, no natural morning rise that used to make you feel alive and confident. At first, you brush it off. Maybe it was just a rough night, maybe too much stress, maybe bad sleep. But then it happens again and again, until suddenly you find yourself quietly wondering, is this the beginning of the end? Is this what aging really means? Here's the truth, and it may surprise you. According to large-scale studies, nearly half of men by age 50 experience some degree of erectile dysfunction. Half. That means if you're sitting in a room with 10 men your age, 5 of them are going through exactly what you are, whether they admit it or not. And most never speak to their doctor, never share it with friends, and sometimes not even with their partner. Instead, they carry it silently, thinking this must be normal, this must be unavoidable. This must be what happens when testosterone drops and years pile up. But here's the part that rarely gets told. Sexual performance does not have to fade simply because the candles on your birthday cake keep increasing. Performance is not just about age. It's about physiology, blood flow, sleep, hormones, and daily choices that either fuel your vitality or quietly drain it away. And that means you still have control, more control than you might imagine. So let me challenge you right here, at the start. What if one simple nightly habit, a small natural drink you take before bed, could set in motion a cascade of benefits that leave you waking up stronger, more energetic, and more confident? Not just in the bedroom, but in your daily life, your focus, and even your long-term health. Would you ignore it, or would you lean in and listen carefully? Because this is not about gimmicks, not about quick fix pills, not about shady internet potions. This is about real, evidence-based science, the kind doctors quietly recommend when they want to give patients something safe, practical, and powerful. Now, I know the skepticism that naturally kicks in. You've probably seen headlines promising miracle cures, YouTube thumbnails screaming, "Drink this and never age," or ads suggesting some exotic root powder will turn back time. Let's cut through that noise. What I'm going to share is not a miracle cure. It is not instant magic, but it is something proven, studied, and clinically relevant. Something that works with your body, not against it. Something that doesn't deplete you, but restores you. Before we reveal the drink itself, let's step back and understand the deeper truth. Because once you see the full picture, you'll never think about performance or aging the same way again. First, here's what most men over 50 misunderstand. Erectile dysfunction, sluggish mornings, and fading drive are rarely just about testosterone. Sure, testosterone plays a role, and yes, it naturally declines with age. But research consistently shows that performance issues usually appear years before testosterone drops low enough to explain them. Why? Because the real culprit is blood flow, vascular health, the condition of your arteries, veins, and tiny capillaries that deliver oxygen and nutrients to every organ, including the one responsible for your confidence in bed. Think about it this way. Your vascular system is like an intricate network of highways, side roads, and tiny back streets. For most of your life, traffic flows smoothly. Fuel reaches every destination. But as you age, as inflammation builds, as poor lifestyle choices compound, those roads begin to narrow. Plaque accumulates, walls stiffen, flexibility vanishes. And when that happens, traffic slows, sometimes stops altogether. In your body, that means oxygen can't reach tissues as effectively, blood struggles to surge where it needs to, and performance falters. Here's the kicker. The blood vessels in the penis are among the smallest in your body. That means they're the first to feel the impact of vascular decline. Long before chest pain, long before a heart attack, long before other serious symptoms, your body quietly whispers a warning through weaker erections, slower recovery, and lack of morning strength. In fact, leading cardiologists now consider erectile dysfunction not just a sexual issue, but an early warning sign of cardiovascular disease. So let's frame this clearly. Performance isn't just about sex. It's a window into your entire vascular system, your heart health, and your longevity. Which means when we talk about improving performance, we're not talking about vanity. We're talking about survival. We're talking about extending health span, the number of years you live with vitality and confidence. Now, what does this have to do with a drink before bed? Everything. Because one of the most important molecules for vascular health, and therefore for sexual performance, is something called nitric oxide. If you've ever heard of Viagra, you've already brushed up against nitric oxide. Viagra works by amplifying its effects. Nitric oxide is produced naturally by the lining of your blood vessels, and its job is simple but crucial: to relax and widen those vessels, allowing more blood to flow through with less resistance. More blood flow equals stronger, more reliable performance. Less nitric oxide equals constriction, weakness, and frustration. Here's the empowering news. Your body can create nitric oxide naturally. It doesn't need a pill, but it does need the right fuel. And that fuel often comes from what you eat and drink, especially compounds called dietary nitrates and polyphenols. That's where this nightly habit comes into play. Because consuming certain nitrate-rich drinks before bed has been shown to boost nitric oxide production, improve blood vessel flexibility, and enhance vascular function overnight while your body is already primed for repair. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Before we talk specifics, let's lay out why nighttime is the perfect moment to leverage this strategy. When you fall asleep, your body shifts into a state of deep restoration. Hormones recalibrate, tissues repair. Your nervous system switches into parasympathetic mode, the rest and digest state that favors healing and sexual function. If you provide your body with the right nutrients at this moment, you're not fighting uphill. You're aligning with biology. You're synchronizing external input with internal rhythms. And that's why this works. Still, I want to make something crystal clear. This is not about pounding down random juices or experimenting with untested concoctions. It's about precision, about understanding which compounds trigger nitric oxide, how they interact with your vascular lining, what timing maximizes the effect, and how to avoid the common mistakes that sabotage the benefits. Because yes, even something as natural as a nitrate-rich juice can backfire if you take it at the wrong time, in the wrong dose, or paired with the wrong habits. So stay with me, because in the next section, we'll break down exactly what this drink is, why it works, and how you can use it tonight without risk, without side effects, and without confusion. You'll see the clinical evidence, the practical applications, and even the hidden pitfalls most men overlook. And when you put it all together, you'll understand that sexual health is not a mystery. It's a system. And like any system, it can be tuned, optimized, and restored. So let's get specific. What is this mysterious drink that research suggests can quietly restore vascular health, improve blood flow, and support stronger performance by morning? The answer might surprise you, because it isn't exotic, it isn't expensive, and it isn't risky. It's something you can find in almost any grocery store, and yet most men overlook it. The drink is simple: beetroot juice. Now, you might be tempted to roll your eyes. Beetroot juice, that earthy red liquid I avoid because it tastes like dirt? Yes, that very same juice. But here's why it matters. Beets are one of the richest natural sources of dietary nitrates. These nitrates are the raw material your body uses to create nitric oxide. When you consume them, your saliva and gut bacteria help convert nitrates into nitrites, and then your blood vessels convert nitrites into nitric oxide. The result? Relaxed, widened vessels that deliver more oxygen-rich blood exactly where you need it. This isn't speculation, this is science. A 2015 randomized controlled trial published in the American Journal of Physiology found that beetroot juice significantly increased nitric oxide levels and improved endothelial function in healthy adults. Another study in hypertension research showed that even a single dose of beetroot juice lowered systolic blood pressure within hours. These are markers of vascular flexibility, the very foundation of erectile function. Now let's go deeper. Why does beetroot juice specifically benefit men over 50? Because age brings two challenges: declining nitric oxide production and increasing oxidative stress. In plain language, your blood vessels become less efficient at producing the very molecule they need to stay flexible, while at the same time, more inflammation builds up and damages their inner lining. Beetroot addresses both problems at once. It delivers the raw nitrates needed to boost nitric oxide production, and it comes loaded with betalains and polyphenols, antioxidants that fight the oxidative stress tearing down your blood vessel walls. So instead of a temporary fix, you're supporting the system itself. Think of it like this. Your vascular system is a set of garden hoses carrying life-giving water. Over time, sediment builds up, the rubber stiffens, and the flow weakens. Beetroot juice acts like a gentle flush, restoring flexibility to those hoses while also protecting them from further weathering. And because the penile arteries are so small, they benefit disproportionately. That's why some men report noticeable changes within weeks, sometimes even days. But here's where timing becomes crucial. If you simply guzzle beet juice at random times of day, you might miss the window when your body is most primed to turn those nitrates into nitric oxide. Studies show that taking it about 60 to 90 minutes before bed synchronizes perfectly with your body's circadian rhythm. During this window, your parasympathetic nervous system is activating, cortisol levels are falling, and melatonin production is beginning. Your cardiovascular system naturally relaxes at night, blood pressure dips, and your vessels are more responsive. Feeding them nitrates at this moment amplifies the effect, creating a vascular boost that flows into your sleep cycles and carries over into your morning performance. Now, let's address a common concern. Won't drinking juice before bed make you wake up at night to urinate, disrupting sleep? That's a fair question, because interrupted sleep can absolutely tank testosterone production. But the answer lies in moderation. The clinical sweet spot is about half a cup to 1 cup, small enough to avoid flooding your bladder, large enough to deliver effective nitrate levels. In fact, beetroot juice is relatively low in sugar compared to other juices, and when taken in these amounts, it won't spike insulin or sabotage melatonin production. If you're sensitive to the earthy taste, there's a trick. Blend it with a splash of tart cherry juice. Not only does cherry mask the flavor, but it also brings its own benefits: natural melatonin, magnesium, and polyphenols that improve sleep quality and reduce inflammation. This combination creates a synergistic bedtime tonic that is far more powerful than either drink alone. And here's where we expand the lens. Beetroot juice is not just about erections, it's about the bigger picture of aging. Because the same vascular issues that cause ED also contribute to heart disease, stroke, dementia, and fatigue. By supporting nitric oxide production, you're not just chasing performance, you're protecting your brain, your heart, and your energy levels. In this sense, performance becomes a diagnostic tool. If you're waking up stronger, you're not just having better mornings, you're likely extending your health span. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. If it's this simple, why don't more doctors recommend it? The reality is that modern medicine often defaults to pharmaceuticals because they're standardized, profitable, and easy to prescribe. Lifestyle-based interventions like beetroot juice don't make headlines because they don't make billions, but that doesn't make them less powerful. In fact, for men looking for safe, affordable, and sustainable solutions, lifestyle medicine often outperforms prescriptions in the long run. Of course, beetroot juice alone is not a magic bullet. Think of it as a cornerstone habit that works best when stacked with other nighttime strategies. For example, pairing it with magnesium glycinate enhances smooth muscle relaxation in the blood vessels. Adding a short evening walk improves insulin sensitivity, which in turn supports hormone balance. Practicing a few minutes of slow breathing lowers cortisol, reducing stress that interferes with sexual function. Each small behavior builds on the next, compounding results.
Contrast this with the typical approach most men take, ignoring the problem, waiting until it worsens, then reaching for a blue pill that forces an artificial response. Pills may work temporarily, but they don't heal the system. They mask the symptom while the underlying vascular decline continues. Beetroot juice and supportive habits, on the other hand, rebuild the system from the inside out. This is the contrast I want you to hold in your mind: short-term artificial fixes versus long-term natural restoration. Which path do you want to take? Let's also touch on something most men overlook: sleep itself. Did you know that your body produces the bulk of its testosterone during deep REM sleep? Studies published in journals like JAMA and Sleep show that just one night of poor sleep can reduce testosterone production by 10 to 15% the next day. That means even if you're exercising, eating clean, and taking supplements, if you're not sleeping deeply, your performance will suffer. This is why a drink that not only supports nitric oxide but also promotes better sleep architecture is so powerful. You're aligning blood flow, hormonal production, and tissue repair all in one nightly ritual. So here's the big picture. Every night, your body gives you a chance to restore, to reset hormones, oxygenate tissues, flush toxins, and rebuild strength. You can ignore that opportunity, or you can amplify it with small, intentional choices. Beetroot juice is one of the simplest, most evidence-backed choices you can make. And when combined with other evening rituals, it becomes a game changer. But there's more to the story. Because while nitrates and polyphenols drive nitric oxide, they're not the only nutrients involved in vascular health. Magnesium, potassium, citrulline, and antioxidants all play crucial roles. And your oral microbiome, the bacteria in your mouth, actually determine how well nitrates convert into nitrites. That means even something as simple as using antiseptic mouthwash before bed could sabotage your nitric oxide levels. Surprised? Most men are. And that's why we need to dive deeper, connecting the dots between diet, microbiome, sleep, and performance. So in the next section, we're going to peel back another layer. We'll explore the overlooked nutrients that supercharge nitric oxide, the common habits that unknowingly destroy it, and the small tweaks you can make tonight to maximize benefits. By the end, you'll see how performance is not about one miracle ingredient, but about stacking the right science-backed strategies together until they transform your mornings, your confidence, and your long-term health.
Here's something most men never hear, even in the doctor's office. Your performance doesn't just depend on testosterone or even on blood flow. It also depends on the microscopic chemistry happening inside your blood vessels, your nerves, and your muscles every single night. And this chemistry is profoundly influenced by what you eat, drink, and do in the hours before bed. That means every choice you make after dinner is either priming your body for restoration or quietly sabotaging it. Let's begin with nutrients. We've already talked about nitrates from beetroot juice, but nitrates are just one piece of a larger puzzle. Your vascular system, the intricate lining of blood vessels called the endothelium, needs multiple cofactors to produce nitric oxide efficiently. Magnesium, for example, plays a crucial role. It relaxes smooth muscle cells, lowers blood pressure, and enhances the parasympathetic nervous system, the same system that governs erections. Studies in the Journal of Human Hypertension show that magnesium supplementation can reduce both systolic and diastolic blood pressure while also lowering cortisol, the stress hormone that interferes with sleep and libido. Then there's citrulline, an amino acid found in watermelon. Citrulline is converted into arginine in the kidneys, and arginine is a direct precursor to nitric oxide. Research has shown that citrulline supplementation can improve erection hardness and frequency in men with mild erectile dysfunction. Imagine stacking beetroot juice with a few slices of watermelon in the evening. You're providing your body with two different pathways to generate nitric oxide, amplifying the effect. Polyphenols are another essential group. These plant compounds, found abundantly in tart cherries, pomegranates, and berries, protect the endothelium from oxidative damage. Think of polyphenols as a shield. Without them, free radicals attack and stiffen blood vessels. With them, your vessels stay supple, flexible, and responsive. And when those vessels stay healthy, blood flows more easily not just to the heart or brain, but also to the penis. Now, here's a detail almost no one talks about: your oral microbiome. Believe it or not, the bacteria in your mouth are critical for nitrate conversion. When you consume dietary nitrates from beets or greens, those nitrates first meet bacteria on your tongue. These microbes convert nitrate into nitrite, which then circulates in your blood and eventually becomes nitric oxide. If you kill these bacteria with antiseptic mouthwash, you short-circuit the entire process. A study in free radical biology and medicine found that antiseptic mouthwash reduced nitric oxide levels significantly by disrupting this bacterial pathway. So, if you want your bedtime drink to work, avoid mouthwash right before bed. Instead, stick to gentle rinses or brushing earlier in the evening. This is the kind of small detail that separates men who see dramatic benefits from those who see little change. It's not about just what you consume, it's about how your body processes it. And once you understand these levers, you can adjust them in your favor. Now, let's address another overlooked factor: stress. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is one of the most destructive enemies of male vitality. Elevated cortisol doesn't just make you feel anxious, it suppresses testosterone, disrupts sleep, and interferes with nitric oxide production. Many men carry invisible stress into the night, thinking they can just fall asleep and recover. But here's the truth: if you don't actively unload stress before bed, it comes with you into your sleep, fragmenting rest and blunting hormonal rhythms. This is why adding a stress offload ritual is so powerful. One of the simplest and most effective is the 4-7-8 breathing method. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Do this for 5 cycles. Studies showed this activates the parasympathetic nervous system, slows heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and primes the body for restorative sleep. Combine that with beetroot juice, and you've created both the biochemical and neurological conditions for improved performance. Now, let's talk about sleep itself. Your body produces testosterone predominantly during REM sleep, but you don't just need duration, you need depth. Poor sleep architecture, meaning disrupted cycles, reduces testosterone production even if you technically spent 8 hours in bed. One night of poor sleep can slash testosterone levels the next day by as much as 15%, according to research published in JAMA. That means if you're waking up in the middle of the night to urinate, or if your brain is buzzing with stress, you're robbing yourself of testosterone every single night. So how do you fix this? First, you time your hydration properly. Drinking beetroot juice 60 to 90 minutes before bed gives your body enough time to convert nitrates while avoiding a full bladder at midnight. Second, you create a sleep-friendly environment. Keep your bedroom cool, around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Eliminate blue light from screens an hour before bed because blue light suppresses melatonin. And finally, build a consistent wind-down ritual. Whether it's stretching, meditation, or a warm shower, consistency signals your body it's time to transition into restorative sleep. Another overlooked piece is pelvic floor engagement. Most men assume Kegel exercises are for women, but research shows they're equally beneficial for men, especially those experiencing mild erectile dysfunction. Just a few minutes of daily contractions, like stopping a urine stream mid-flow, can significantly improve control and vascular tone over time. Imagine stacking that with your nightly drink. You're strengthening both the vascular input and the muscular retention of erections. And let's not forget evening movement. A short, gentle walk after dinner improves insulin sensitivity, lowers blood sugar, and stimulates nitric oxide production. One study in diabetes care found that post-meal walking significantly reduced glucose spikes, which is critical because high glucose levels damage blood vessels and suppress testosterone. A 10-minute walk may not sound like much, but over months and years, it becomes a cornerstone habit that preserves both vascular and hormonal health. So let's step back and connect the dots. You drink beetroot juice before bed. You pair it with tart cherry juice for additional polyphenols and melatonin. You maybe add a few slices of watermelon for citrulline. You take magnesium glycinate to relax blood vessels and muscles. You avoid antiseptic mouthwash to protect nitrate conversion. You walk after dinner to improve insulin sensitivity. You practice breathing to lower cortisol. You dim the lights and cut screens to protect melatonin. You keep the bedroom cool to optimize deep sleep. And you engage the pelvic floor to build vascular control. None of these habits alone are extreme, but together they stack. And when they stack, the effect multiplies. This is the difference between men who wake up dragging themselves out of bed, wondering where their spark went, and men who wake up feeling strong, clear, and confident. It's not that one group found a miracle cure and the other didn't. It's that one group stacked the right behaviors consistently while the other ignored them. Now, I want to introduce a powerful contrast. Many men over 50 fall into two categories. Category 1, they accept decline as inevitable. They blame age, they stop asking questions, they withdraw from intimacy, and they shrink into a smaller version of themselves. Category 2, they chase quick fixes. They buy supplements with no evidence, they use prescription pills without addressing root causes, and they ride a roller coaster of temporary boosts followed by disappointment. Both paths end in frustration. The third path, the path you're learning now, is different. It's about root cause restoration, about addressing vascular health, hormonal rhythm, nervous system balance, and lifestyle integration. It's about creating a foundation so solid that performance isn't something you chase, it's something that naturally arises. And here's the best part. It's never too late. Even if you've struggled for years, your vascular system can adapt. Nitric oxide pathways can be restored. Sleep can be repaired. Hormones can rebalance. Your body is remarkably resilient when given the right tools. That means no matter where you're starting, you can improve. So in the next section, we're going to bring it all together. We'll take everything you've learned, nitrates, nutrients, sleep, stress, movement, pelvic health, and weave it into a nightly ritual. A ritual so simple you can start tonight, yet so powerful it can transform not just your mornings, but your entire trajectory of aging. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about one drink. It's about reclaiming control of your body, your health, and your confidence.
Let's bring everything together now, because information without integration is just noise. The truth is, most men already know bits and pieces about health. Exercise is good, sleep matters, stress is harmful. But what they lack is a framework, a nightly ritual that ties all the science into a routine they can actually follow. That's what we're building here, a structured, practical system that leverages your body's natural rhythms, aligns with proven science, and delivers results you can feel every single morning. So let's design this ritual step by step. Imagine it's 8 p.m. You finished dinner at least 2 hours ago. This timing is important because a late, heavy meal raises insulin, disrupts sleep, and competes with nitric oxide conversion. Instead, by eating earlier, you give your digestive system time to process, leaving your body ready for restoration when the night begins. At around 8:30, you head out for a short walk. Nothing extreme, just 10 to 15 minutes of gentle movement. As your feet hit the pavement, your muscles signal your blood vessels to release nitric oxide. Your blood sugar stabilizes, insulin sensitivity improves, and your vascular system warms up. This is your primer, setting the stage for everything to come. By 9 o'clock, you prepare your drink. Half a cup to 1 cup of pure beetroot juice, ideally cold-pressed with no added sugar. If the taste is strong, you add a splash of tart cherry juice, creating a crimson blend that not only boosts nitric oxide, but also delivers melatonin and polyphenols for sleep quality. If you like, a slice or two of watermelon on the side. Add citrulline for extra vascular support. You sip slowly, not rushing, letting your body absorb the nitrates as you begin your wind-down ritual. At 9:15, you step into a warm shower.
The heat dilates your peripheral blood vessels, lowers your core temperature afterward, and signals your brain to release melatonin. You emerge relaxed, your body already transitioning into parasympathetic mode, the state of rest and recovery. Now, before bed, you take a few minutes for intentional breathing. The 4-7-8 technique is simple but profound. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Repeat 5 cycles. As your breath deepens, your heart rate slows, cortisol drops, and your nervous system downshifts. Stress doesn't follow you into sleep. It dissolves here. At 9:30, you dim the lights. Screens go off, phones are set aside. The blue light that normally suppresses melatonin is no longer sabotaging you. Instead, your body's circadian rhythm takes over. Darkness tells your pineal gland it's time to rest, time to produce melatonin, time to enter the cycles where testosterone is forged. Before slipping into bed, you spend 2 minutes engaging your pelvic floor. Light contractions, as if stopping a urine stream mid-flow. These small actions strengthen the muscles that hold blood in the penis, training them for better control and resilience. Think of it as insurance. You've optimized vascular input. Now you're reinforcing vascular retention. By 10 o'clock, you're in bed. The room is cool, quiet, and dark. Your body, fueled with nitrates, magnesium, and polyphenols, begins converting nutrients into nitric oxide. Your vessels relax, your parasympathetic system deepens, your heart rate slows. Sleep comes easier, deeper, more restorative. Through the night, as you cycle through REM, your body releases testosterone, growth hormone, and nitric oxide. Your penile tissue receives oxygen through nocturnal erections, maintaining elasticity and responsiveness. You're not just resting, you're rebuilding. And then morning comes. You wake not with frustration, but with strength. Not groggy, but clear. Not anxious, but confident. And that change isn't luck, it's biology. You aligned your nightly habits with your body's natural processes. You gave it what it needed, when it needed it, and it responded. This is how you create stronger performance by morning, not by chance, not by force, but by science-backed consistency. Now let's step back and recognize what you've accomplished. This ritual isn't extreme. It doesn't require expensive supplements, invasive procedures, or complicated routines. It's a handful of small, manageable habits stacked together. An early dinner, a short walk, a nitrate-rich drink, a warm shower, a breathing exercise, light pelvic floor engagement, and screen-free darkness. That's it. Simple. But in simplicity lies power, because these habits target the exact systems, vascular, hormonal, neurological, that govern performance. Contrast this with the alternatives most men chase. A prescription pill may force blood flow temporarily, but it doesn't repair damaged vessels. A supplement with no scientific backing may promise miracles, but it rarely delivers. Ignoring the issue altogether only accelerates decline. The nightly ritual, on the other hand, respects the complexity of your body while working with it. That's why it not only improves performance, but also extends health span. And remember, erectile function is a vital sign. Doctors increasingly recognize it as an early indicator of cardiovascular health. By supporting it naturally, you're not just addressing intimacy, you're protecting your heart, your brain, and your longevity. Each morning erection becomes a signal, a barometer of how well your internal systems are functioning. If they're strong, it means your vascular system is strong. If they fade, it means it's time to intervene. This ritual is that intervention. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Is it too late? What if you're already struggling, already past the point of simple prevention? Here's the empowering reality. It's never too late. Studies show that endothelial function can improve even in older adults with consistent dietary and lifestyle changes. Sleep can be repaired, hormones can be recalibrated, blood flow can be restored. Your body is remarkably resilient when given the right tools.
Even men in their 60s and 70s report measurable improvements when they adopt strategies like this. The key is consistency. One night won't change your life, but a week? A month? 3 months? That's when the compounding effect becomes undeniable. Each night builds on the last. Each morning signals progress. And over time, you reclaim not just performance, but vitality, confidence, and quality of life. So here's your invitation. Don't wait for decline to become crisis. Don't resign yourself to frustration or dependency on pills. Start tonight. Pour half a cup of beetroot juice. Pair it with tart cherry. Take a walk. Breathe deeply. Dim the lights. Strengthen your pelvic floor and let your body restore itself. And tomorrow morning, notice the difference. Notice how your energy feels steadier, how your clarity sharpens, how your confidence rises. Because this is not just about performance in the bedroom, it's about performance in life. When you wake up restored, everything changes. You show up differently for your partner, your family, your work, and yourself. You carry yourself with quiet strength, knowing that age is not a sentence, it's a stage, and how you navigate it determines the life you lead. Here's the final truth. Your health deserves clarity, not fear. Your body deserves care, not neglect. And your future deserves the version of you that is engaged, confident, and vibrant. That version is not gone. It's waiting, right beneath the surface, ready to return when you align your habits with your biology. So tonight, begin. Because performance doesn't start in the morning. It starts the night before. And when you respect that truth, when you invest in your nightly ritual, you don't just restore performance, you reclaim your life.